Now, in your opinion, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Why is a Swiss Army knife a popular item?
I would believe because maybe it's multifaceted, because it does a lot of different things.
Say no more.
Say no more.
It's multifaceted. Okay. And with that being said,
yes, there it is.
We have a guest on the show.
Yes, sir.
You got to wear your skates with Kurt.
You know, her name is Valerie. Hello. Valerie Bradley. Now, she is like a Swiss Army knife.
Yes, she is.
You know,
wow.
She is a entrepreneur.
Yes.
She runs different organizations. You know, she is a community person.
Absolutely.
You know, she is currently working feverishly on a project called Save Harlem Now.
It's not a project.
Oh,
it's an organization.
It's an organization.
Correct that, son.
The project is NYCHA. We're not talking a NYCHA thing. We're talking about an organization that deals with districts in the lovely city of Harlem. No, lovely town of New York. Right. But we will let Valerie tell us more about herself as well as about Save Harlem Now. So can we get a round of applause for her first?
CEO of the Bradley Group.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Valerie Jo Bradley. Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's great to be here. Save Harlem Now is an organization that was founded about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so it's probably one of Harlem's newest organizations. And we got together to help save the built environment and the cultural legacy of Harlem that exists in its buildings and its streetscapes. And the reason we call it Save Harlem Now is because it seems as if, for some reason, we're about to lose it. And as we're about to lose it because of developers who are coming in and building market rate condominiums,
right,
and big rentals and whatever, the neighborhood that it used to be is quickly becoming something that's totally different. And what we are committed to is to preserving the legacy that was left us by the folks who came here beginning in 1906. Now, many people say, well, why are you trying to save some buildings that, quote, other folks built, not us? Well, other folks built them, but we made them important.
How about that? We the seasoning.
We created a history in those buildings.
Correct.
And that ought to and needs to be preserved. In the village or Upper West Side, like the Upper West Side, at least 50% of the buildings and history of the Upper West Side has been preserved. In the village, it's about 2/3. In Harlem, it's about 0.3%.
Wow.
And we're quickly losing buildings. We lost the Renaissance. I could just go right down the list and talk about that. We lost the Lenox Lounge. We've lost, we've lost so many important buildings in our history that if it continues, Harlem will be unrecognizable. And in addition to that, the tourism, Harlem is maybe about the third most popular area that's visited in New York City. And there'll be no reason to come and visit it because they come to visit it because of its low-rise development, its abundance of intact streetscapes from the late 1900s to the late 1800s, and it even has the colonial history, a really strong colonial history. And there's no reason to come to Harlem if it's going to look like 3rd Avenue in the 50s.
Right.
I so appreciate what you're doing. I mean, I live on 138th Street between Edgecombe and Frederick Douglass.
Okay.
So you know where I'm going with this, right?
Right, Dorrance.
See, as of recently, someone slipped a piece of paper under my door and it said we are now turning this. We would like to transform this area and turn it into a district, the Durrance Brooks district. And so we're having a meeting at St. Mark's Church across the street, and my man Keith, who's president of one of the block associations. I'm president of the 138th Street Block Association.
Okay.
We got together and I learned all about like this movement to save our community from being architecturally altered, from the texture and vibe and energy that is our community is changed. And it was notably done because there's one building on the next block that decided to put like terraces and all kind of like different stuff. You got Queen Anne style, you got a Stanford White type building, you got Stryver's Road, and all of a sudden we on 3rd Avenue and 57th Street. Like, what's going on? So I actually did some dark co-opt mission stuff, and I was like, yo, Yaz, who is this Save Harlem Now organization? I need to know. And she said, oh, Kurt, official tissue, good people, boom, 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 and here you are on the show. So thank you for the work you're doing in the community. I cut my check yesterday because I know you have to, it's X amount of money to do certain things. So I cut my check as a building owner, and so I appreciate you.
You know, it's funny. That reminded me when I was about 10 years ago, I'm traveling on the train, and a woman walks up to me. She goes, I would like to visit Northern Manhattan. And yeah, I swear. And I said, where do you want to go? Because now we're actually at 96th Street. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what do you mean Northern Manhattan? She goes, well, that's the name of the place, Northern Manhattan. And I was like, I've been living here all my life. I've never heard of Northern Manhattan like that. She goes, yes, just give me the street. She said 115. I said, oh, you mean Harlem? She goes, no, Northern Manhattan. I said, ma'am, you mean Harlem. Tell your people it's called Harlem.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
No
saying?
so high, Harlem.
But my point is that there's a different energy coming in and transforming Harlem, and I don't know if it's for the good or for the worse. I mean, what do you think?
I
You
think
live there.
sometimes it's a real estate marketing.
Oh, of course.
Marketing plan.
Piano district.
Like South, so high.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've heard a number of descriptions. Like they might want to like Hamilton Heights.
That's how she was speaking to me.
Hamilton Heights.
Northern.
Now,
Northern
Hamilton Heights has really like caught on and whatever. But when I first moved up to Harlem in 1980, I just thought it was, like funny that it was described as Hamilton Heights. I said, aren't you in Harlem? And but even now, because Harlem has gotten so popular, Columbia University acknowledges that it's in Harlem.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
Right,
what's
thank
up.
you.
That's what's up.
Prior to that, prior to recently, even in their literature, they would encourage students not to pass Morningside Park because it was dangerous.
Right.
Dangerous.
So what brought your passion? What made you want to get involved in this very important issue?
Well, one of the things was, like I'm not a native New Yorker.
Where do you hail from?
I hail from Indianapolis, Indiana, Naptown.
Indianapolis. All of a sudden, the little accent came out. Indianapolis.
I like that.
That
Naptown.
town. I like that.
Naptown,
like right in.
it's Chi-Town, Naptown,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I like that. I like that.
it. Yeah.
So, but I came here, I moved here from San Francisco.
Okay.
And
High rent to high rent. Okay.
well, it wasn't so high rent then. It is now. I think it's even more high rent than New York
Yes,
City.
it is. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
But it is a beautiful city.
It is a beautiful city, but the last time I went there, I couldn't find any black folks on the street.
Yeah, it's different.
Anyway,
How about that?
yeah,
It's
right?
different.
We've, been moved, and that could happen
We moved
here
across
in
the
New
bridge.
York,
Absolutely.
where you're moved. I mean, we might all end up in New Jersey
Absolutely.
or something like that.
What's wrong with New Jersey? I moved over. I moved
Paul
over.
Luke said it all up.
Randomly speaking.
And for me, though, how I knew there was something adrift, I was on the train one day, and the conductor said, next stop, Central Park North. And I've been catching this train forever. And I'm like,
Right.
Central Park North? What? Oh, there's something amiss. There's a coordinated effort to recalculate, recalibrate, rezone, restructure You know, and I think a lot of times we don't appreciate how wonderful where we live until someone takes it from us.
That's right.
I think
And so now
that's
everybody
always
sits around and talks about it. So anyway, I decided to purchase a brownstone in 1980. And when I did that, originally was a real estate transaction
Right.
became a passion for a neighborhood.
I'd like to ask you something. In your bio, you said, if I'm not mistaken, this piece of property transformed into a guest house.
Yes.
Now, what do you mean by that? I mean, I think I know, but I'm not sure. What do you mean?
It's
by you say guest
like
house?
almost like a B&B or a hotel.
Home away from home type
A
of
home
thing?
away from home,
Right.
guest house, that kind of thing. For people who like, one of the problems we've had in Harlem is that when people want to come here, and that a lot of Europeans have a lot of respect for Harlem.
Yes, they do.
And they would like to stay here. And, like studies have proven that when someone stays in a neighborhood, they spend their dollars in that neighborhood. So we need hotels, we need guest facilities so that people can start dropping money at our restaurants and our other amenities.
Speaking
and
of dropping
whatever.
money, how can they find out more? What can you give the listening audience to find out more about Save Harlem Now and to find out more about your organization? Because we're coming towards the end of the show, and I really want it to be known to the public. How can they find out and hear more about what you're doing?
They can reach out to our website, which is Save Harlem, not our website, our Facebook, Save Harlem Now. Unfortunately, our website is not that active. We do have a website, and that's Save Harlem Now also. And but we're getting a little more tech savvy and technical and whatever. It's about, like getting some volunteers who have those skills to bump it up for us. But we do have a website that's not that active, but our Facebook site is very active.
And I do have one question for you because it's important. You talked about San Francisco, and over there they have a tremendous tech movement, right? So the price goes up. Big corporations come in, drive the price up. And obviously there's big money corporations moving into development in Harlem. So how do we combat that? How do you guys fighting big money coming in, market rate housing? What's the strategy to preserve what is the community and culture of Harlem?
Well, I think it's putting more pressure on the government.
Okay.
Government has a role to play in this, and that our elected officials should be behind us and backing us up and supporting that. And so it's an educational endeavor for people to understand how important it is for this community to survive, and that government has a responsibility, because when you are saving Harlem, part of saving Harlem is keeping housing affordable.
Correct.
I think that ties it up right there. Part of saving Harlem is keeping Harlem affordable. You've heard from the words of our guest, Valerie Bradley. We really appreciate you being in the house with us today. Please check us out every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on OnPoint Radio. And we got to have you come back.
You got to have you come back.
Oh, yes, yes.
Talk more about the Dorrance
To
Brooks
talk
Project.
more.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a great Saturday. This is On Point Experience.
On Point Radio.